When I grow up, you know what I wanna be. Take a seat, let me tell you my ridiculous dreams. I wanna sing, yeah, I know it's hard to believe, and I can tell that you're thinking I will never succeed, but I'm okay with it, I'll admit the lyrics are weak. I've been working on them, I'll be good eventually. I understand you gotta crawl before you get to your feet, but I've been running for a while, they ain't ready for me now. I know this probably isn't really realistic, and honestly I might not ever make a difference now, but that don't make a difference, I'ma have to risk it. I've been crunching numbers, you ain't gonna be a mathematician.
Hello and welcome to another adventure here on my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing and doing 3 looks with the Coca Cola X Morphe collection. So if you like playing with makeup and talking about the beauty community / industry just as much as I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you'll be notified of all future content. Also, I have decided to start a second channel for all my non-beauty related content that I want to make. So it's very much going to be a mixed bag of content. I'm probably going to talk a lot about my self-improvement projects that I'm working on right now, my shopping ban, I want to do some book reviews. That ranking all the Barbie movies video will be on that channel instead. So it is called Just Joe, and I will have it linked down below. It would be wonderful if you could check it out and give it a subscribe. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the review of this collection. I got everything except for the sponges. I have tried the Morphe sponges before, and honestly, they are my favorite sponge. I usually don't splurge on them because like I can go to Marshall's and get perfectly acceptable sponges in a 3-pack for like $7. So why would I pay $8 for one sponge? But where is it? I actually have one as my backup sponge right now because it's my birthday month and I felt like splurging. It's not the Coca Cola one, but if you are looking for a really good sponge and don't mind paying $8 for it, the Morphe Highlight and Contour Sponge, that is my favorite sponge of all time, period. So I do highly suggest that. As for the rest of this collection, I have mixed feelings about a lot of these items, and this video has taken a long time to put together just because I've gotten busy and wanted to film other things, but also as much as I love the color story, because I bought this palette because I adore this color story. Oh, this is a very me color story. A bunch of neutrals, a yellow, some reds, some silvers. Like this is very much me. Like I could see this being a collab palette I did. It is so me, color story wise. But the formula just made me not really want to reach for it. And the thing is, I thought I knew what I was getting with this palette because I'm just gonna go get it. I have and very much love the Morphe 39L Hit the Lights palette. I know this was a very much disliked Morphe palette and you can't get it anymore, but I adore this palette. Is the formula amazing? No. But it's good. I enjoy working with this palette. It's not the easiest to work with, it's not my favorite formula, but I love the color story so much and the shadows are good. So it's not a pain to work with them to use this color story. So I adore this palette. So I thought since I also adored this color story, I thought they'd be the same formula, and even though it's not my favorite formula, this color story could also compensate, and I could also love this palette as much as I love this palette, and I was wrong. This palette, the quality is good. It's middle of the road, it is acceptable, I can work with it. It takes a little bit longer than some of my other formulas to blend out, and I have to use a specific technique, but I can get it there fairly easily. It's good. It is a good palette. This formula is a step down from that. It's fine. Like I can get the looks to be good, but it takes so much extra work, so many little like tricks and things I have learned to make a look get there. It doesn't just do what I want it to do. Even in a very simple look, I still had to finagle it, and this was the easiest look to do. These 2 shades, which are on my eyes right now, they blended better than all the other shades I've tried. But even like these browns and this brown didn't really blend super easily, and like those are pretty basic colors. If you have a good formula, why would you change it and make it worse? Why aren't these the same formula? Because this is good. This is It's fine. It's pigmented, but it's kind of hard to blend, and I have to work so much harder to get this where I want it to be than I do this. And this is still not the absolute best in my collection or wonderful, and ow, I just hit my neck with it, but this is still good. And usually when I do the 3 looks 1 palette videos, The raw footage of the tutorial portions are usually somewhere between 13 and 17 minutes, depending on the complexity of the look. And I did a couple more complex looks in this video. So I would expect them to be maybe 17, 18 minutes worth of raw footage, but I've looked and the raw footage for the first two looks with this palette are 24 minutes and 25 minutes. That is how much extra I have had to work to get this palette to do what I want it to do. And that makes me sad because, like I said, I adore this color story and I wanted it to work. I didn't have high expectations. I had the expectation that it would be a good, acceptable, middle of the road formula, and it is not even that. And it's just like, why? Why would I spend, I believe this was $18 on this for a fine formula when I could get a C color palette for less than $12. I think their most expensive palettes are $12 and have a genuinely fantastic formula. And not just like fantastic for the price, but fantastic, period. Why would I get this instead of a ColourPop palette? Why would I get this instead of an I Heart Revolution palette or one of their collab palettes? Because those are pretty solid from what I've experienced. Like, you can count on those formulas to be pretty good, even though overall Revolution is pretty hit and miss. It's just like with the beauty industry where it is, there's no reason to buy this because you're just settling. Someone dupe this. C-Color, Revolution, ColourPop, like someone dupe this palette because the color story is fantastic. Moving on. I do like that pretty much everything else does fit in this bag. I do like the bag, and I'm gonna talk about the brushes. I was actually really impressed with this brush set. I have had Morphe brushes in the past, and they're not good. Not true. I have one Morphe brush that I do love, which is the Y14 highlighter brush. This is my favorite highlighter brush. It's wonderful, but I have had Morphe brushes literally just completely fall apart as I'm trying to use them. The quality you get in their brush range depends on what collection you buy, and I think this is definitely some of the better brushes in their collection. They are very soft, they feel much better quality. I like all of the shapes except for the fan brush. There's another brush, where is it? I have already lost a brush. Oh, there it is. They do have more of the highlighting brush shape that I like in this set as well. Basically, the only one that shape I don't like is the fan brush, but I especially enjoy this tiny crease brush because I've been wanting to get a tiny crease brush like this and add it to my collection. I also really enjoy this flat fluffy shader brush because I love flat fluffy shader brushes, and pretty much every single look I do, I use a brush like that. This bigger crease brush is pretty good, and these two are very functional shapes in the right instance. So I do think they did a really good job on this brush set. They're all very soft. They feel really high quality, especially for Morphe brushes. But again, I can't say that in a year these won't fall apart, and I have BH Cosmetics brushes that I've had for 2.5 to 3 years now that are still going really strong, and BH has so many brush sets that are so high quality and so affordable, and you have so many options of what shapes you want in your brush set and the aesthetic of it that it's just like, go to BH Cosmetics. They make fantastic brushes at a similar price, and my experience at least has been so much better. So I think if you have your heart set, you want a Morphe brush set, this seems like a good quality option, but just go to BH. I love the case though. I'll be honest, I love this little case. I think it's the perfect size. It could really fit all my brushes, and when I am able to travel again someday, I'm definitely taking this with me. So I think this brush case might be my favorite part of this collection, and that's kind of sad. And then the lip gloss quad. Now, I have only used 3 of these glosses, and I liked 2 of them. I'm wearing the shade Overflow right now over a lip liner, and I do like this. I think it's a nice, comfortable gloss. It kind of smells like vanilla and marshmallow, and I love that. It's not too sticky. It's very plush. This is a nice lip gloss formula. I also think that the shade Tastemaker, the sheer brown with sparkles, was really good too, so I liked these two. I have yet to use the shade Share, which is this pink solid gloss, but I am excited to use this. And then the shade Classic Babe, kind of what I would say is the star of the show of these glosses, because it is that true Coca Cola red. This goes on so beautifully. It is a truly stunning shade of lip gloss that you'll see in the second tutorial. However, after I shut the camera off, About 10 minutes had passed and I checked in the mirror and it was feathering like hell. And I put this over a red lip liner that is a solid red lip liner. So the fact that it's still feathered, even though I had a really good lip liner on, I was just so disappointed. And I was like, no, you cannot be this bright of a shade and feather that badly in 10 minutes, because you could see it like creeping up off my lip, and that is just not a good look. So I'm not sure about the pink, I will be honest, but there's at least one dud and two, yeah, they're pretty good. Not worth it to buy all four, basically. I mean, maybe if the pink is really good, then maybe it would be worth it to accept the dud, but it's just not that great. And then finally, the loose highlighter. I was really excited for this because I've never had a loose highlighter before, and I am wearing it in this look, and I like this. I think if you were just going to buy one item out of this collection because you're a huge Coca Cola fan or whatever, this is what I would suggest. It is a pretty decent highlighter. I've always thought that loose highlighters like were more bam, more intense, more Instagram-y, like bling bling type of highlighter. Now I'm thinking of Johnny Test and Bling Bling Boy, but anyway, so that's what I was expecting and I didn't get it. It's a step up from that Lit From Within glow, like it's a little more intense than that, but it is a nice highlighter. It's just not quite what I expected, but it's very smooth on the skin, so I do like this. I just, again, think there is better for cheaper. So if you really are a big Coca Cola fan, then this would be what I would suggest getting, and that way you can use it and just feel like, yep, I'm wearing my Coca Cola highlighter throughout the day. There are 3 shades. I only got the one that would work for my skin tone, so I think this is a good product. But if you're just looking for a good drugstore highlighter, I would not recommend that one. I would of course recommend the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter because this is the best highlighter of all time, and people can fight me on that. I don't care, they're wrong. Overall, there are some nice things about this collection. I do really like the bag and a couple of the brushes, but honestly, if you're not going to use the majority of these brushes, then why pick it up? Also, again, I'm not sure they're not just going to fall apart in a year, which for me is not a long time for brushes because I've had brushes that have lasted up to 4 years at this point and are still going strong. It's good, but it's kind of a gamble. This is nice. I like this. There are better on the market, but this is not bad at all. The glosses, the 2 that are good are really good, but I don't know about one. One is definitely a dud, and I feel like if you're interested in trying Morphe's gloss formula, it is cheaper and probably better just to pick one shade that you think you will really like from their normal line than getting these 4 minis. And the palette, like, it's just so much more work. It does not want to blend. I have it, so I'm gonna try to use it and try to get enjoyment and my money's worth out of it, but I don't recommend buying this over just about anything else you can get at similar, lower, or higher price points. Like, it's fine. It's not the worst I've ever worked with, but why settle for fine? Especially for $18. Like, you can do better. So with that, if you would still like to see this collection in action, then just keep watching for the 3 looks. All right, it is time for the first look with this palette. Oh my goodness, I have taken out of the package before and so pretty. I am so excited to use this thing. It is all wrapped in bubble wrap in the box, which actually I found really good because the box I got it in was pretty torn up and I was worried it would be broken or something, and it wasn't, so it is well packed. So pretty. And then the brushes come like this. There's this red tissue paper, and then they're packed like this. Okay, and they are all individually wrapped, which personally I don't like that because that just feels like a lot of excess plastic that is completely unnecessary considering they're already in this plastic and in this plastic with this and this. My dog is sitting on my bed and she hears the plastic crinkling and she's looking to see if it's food. These are really soft. They do feel softer than the other Morphe brushes I've tried, so I like that. And there's the brushes right out of the pack. They look pretty good and they do feel soft, so I'm hoping these are better quality than the typical Morphe brushes because so far they feel like it. I'm going to be doing a pretty neutral look but with a pop today. I'm probably going to avoid the reds just because I have an idea for a look with the reds, but it's very My heart may say yes, but my skills might say no, and I have a lot to do today and I don't want to be fighting with eyeshadow all day. So we're gonna skip those for today, and then probably the second look will be with the reds. But let's go ahead and just start putting some of this palette on my eyes. I'm gonna start with this brown shade, All the Feels. Since it's a Morphe palette, I better use the Morphe technique where we go darkest to lightest. And I'm gonna put this in the outer third and the inner third of the eye. And then I'm just gonna wipe off that same brush and go in with the shade. The Real Thing. I hate this stupid plastic thing. And use that just to kind of blend out the edges. I'm gonna take the little crease brush. I'm not putting anything on it. I'm just gonna blend out the edges a little bit, soften them. Okay, now I'm going to take just a little bit of my Revlon Candid Concealer. I'm just going to take a little bit on my finger. Dot that right through the middle. I'm not really trying to like cut the crease or make this really precise. I just want to make sure I have some blank space here. Now I'm going to take this light blue shade and I'm going to take it on the really flat brush. I'm going to spray it and use that as the highlight in the center. It's very flaky, and I think this is almost a topper shade, but by wetting it and really packing it on, I am getting the effect I want. It's like a very Cinderella blue type of shade. And then I'm just taking a blank crease brush and kind of diffusing the edge of that, and it really doesn't want to, so I'm going to take this cream shade. Hopefully that'll help soften the top of it. Okay, now I'm going to take this shimmery brown down here and use that as the bridge between the blue and the brown shades. I actually really like that brown shimmery shade. This side is not wanting to cooperate as well as this side did, blending into each other. And since this is kind of messy, I'm just going to take my CoverGirl CG Smoothers and clean it up. Let's go ahead and do it to this side too. And I'm going to use my Nabla Cupid's Arrow in the shade 1 as a nude eyeliner. And then for the lower lash line, I'm going to start by taking a little bit of this shade again and putting that on the outer and inner corners. Not like completely on the inner corner where I'd highlight, but you get what I mean. I'm going to be mimicking that halo effect, just not exactly. And then I'm going to go in with this shade and take it just a little bit closer to the center. I think I'm going to go ahead and just soften those a little bit before I put a shade in the center. And then I'm going to take this tiny brush and go in with that brown shimmer. I have little blue specks everywhere in this eye look. Like not just where they're supposed to be. I have some all along here in the browns. Like they just got everywhere. And now I'll just use a little bit of this as my inner corner highlight. That has some green to it. I was not expecting that. That has like a green duochrome shift going on. Not exactly what I was going for this look, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's kind of cute. It adds some extra pizzazz. If I'd known how these blue flakes got everywhere and that this had a green shift, I probably would have used this as the center highlight of the eye. I was going for like an ethereal with the light blue Cinderella-y thing. Like I said, it's not bad, but it's just, it's not great. I think actually just to clean up the edges, I'm going to take a little bit of my concealer and just put a little bit of this just to help this situation. Yeah, I just have little blue specks and like shadow blended and not where I want it, so. And then I'm going to take the giant fluffy brush and I'm just going to take a little bit of this cream shade and use that to help with those harsh edges I just created, which is not doing what I want it to. Okay, I'm going to take the flat brush and I just kind of wiped it off to try to get any excess shadow off. And I'm going to use that just not on the blue, but on the browns along the edges. Yeah, that's doing better. I just needed a smaller, more densely packed brush to blend these out like at all. All right, I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and be right back. All right, so for the rest of my face, I used my ColourPop Build Your Own Face palette for blush and bronzer, but not highlighter. I used this Milk Kush mascara, and I went ahead and used my Nabla Cupid's Arrow as a lip liner because we have 2 more products to test still. So I'm going to start with the Glowing Places Loose Highlighter in the shade Bubbly Babe, which is the lightest shade because yeah, this is what the packaging looks like. Very cute. It has the shade name on the back. I have yet to take the sticker off, but that's what it looks like. And now there's highlighter all over my bed. It's okay. It's fine. But that's the shade, kind of what it looks like. And I'm just going to sift some on out of here. And I guess I'll use the fan brush. And let's see. Okay, I don't like using fan brushes for highlighter, so I'm going to get my usual highlighter. I'm gonna get my usual highlighter brush, which is actually a Morphe brush. It is the Y14. I didn't add any to it, but I'm gonna blend that a little better. I mean, it's pretty. I don't know, let's see if I like it better starting with the brush I like. That's much better. Okay, yeah, that's nice. I like that. I'm gonna put a little bit under my brow bone. I think I'm gonna put a little bit on my inner corners too, just to tone down that green shift and bring more brightness. So far enjoying that. And now for the lips, of course, I'm going to be using one of these lip glosses. I mean, obviously I'm most attracted to these two shades because they're the most neutral and wearable, but I think actually this brown one might look best with this look. So this is the shade Tastemaker. It does not smell like Coke. I'm sad, but let's see. I actually really like that. That's a really good gloss. And here is the finished face. I really like the gloss. I actually really like the highlighter. The palette, it's a Morphe palette. I like the eye look. I think it would have turned out better if the shadows were easier to work with, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I got it there. I got it to where it looks good, but it just was a journey instead of easy to do. But here we are. I like it. I like my makeup today. So with that, let's go on to the second look. All right, it is time for look number 2 with the Morphe X Coca Cola palette, or Coca Cola X, whatever, this palette. And this is probably gonna be one of those looks that my heart says yes, but my skills say no, but I'm going to try anyway and use these reds and the silver, and I have a plan. We will see how well it is executed. Also, this red, I didn't know this when I bought the palette, has like some blue micro shimmer in it, and as a huge fan of Kali, like, it just makes me happy. I don't know why blue and red are the colors of Kali, the Hindu goddess of destruction, in my head, but they are, so it makes me happy. Also, I put all the glosses and the highlighter just in this bag to store them for a couple days because it's been a minute since I filmed the first look and everything fit really well, so I do like that. I am just going to start by taking the lighter matte red shade and popping that literally all over my lid and probably into the crease too. Just, I want this everywhere basically. Okay, that red is intense. It is very pigmented. No complaints so far. Hopefully it blends. That's the thing I noticed about Morphe shadows. They're intense and pigmented, but their blending is questionable. I just know it's gonna need help, so I'm gonna take the cream shade and use that to try to soften these edges. Okay, the blend isn't great, but it's not absolutely terrible. I'll take it for now, and if I have to blend more later because it's annoying me, I will, if it'll blend any better than this. But now I'm gonna take that darker red with the blue shimmer in it, and I'm gonna take that and just pat it over the outer third to add a little bit of depth to this look. I'm going very Coca Cola inspired today, so I don't really want to go in with like brown to deepen it. Even though this isn't deepening it that much, it at least adds a little bit of dimension, I think. I think I'm just gonna take a blank shader brush because I find this flat sort of fluffy shape of brush kind of blends Morphe shadows a little bit better than a typical blender brush. I'm not sure why. This I actually think blended pretty decently just with the fluffy brush and a little bit of that cream shade. I am more impressed on this eye, and I've noticed recently this eye has been blending better than this eye, and I don't know why. Because usually this eye is problem child eye. I'm actually taking a little bit, just like what's left on the brush, of that darker shade and just pulling it lightly through the crease, again just to add a little bit of dimension to this look. Okay, I'm not done up here, but I want to go ahead and do the lower lash line, so I'm just going to use a white eyeliner for the waterline. Then I'm just going to take this red shade and run that all along the lower lash line. And then just taking a blank brush and softening that edge. I'm just going to take a little bit of my CoverGirl CG Smoothers Stick Concealer and clean up the edges of this look, just to make it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper. I'm not like trying to whoosh it into like a really sharp wing or anything. So far, this is a really dramatic but pretty simple eye look. But now let's complicate things for myself, because I want to do a glitter liner like in an arch just above my crease using this silver shade. That seems like a good idea. And then I'm going to take the white eyeliner from my Norvina stack here and do a wing, and there's just a lot of places here that's precise work that I could definitely mess up. So I'm going to take my NYX glitter glue and this little liner brush, and I'm going to start by drawing that shape of arch I want in glitter glue. And now with the same brush, I'm just going to go into that silver glitter and start packing it over the glue. I've never done this with actual glitter before. I've done it with just really sparkly eyeshadows, and it's come out really well. So if you're not comfortable with putting glitter this close to your eye, which I understand, you can do it just with like a different silver shimmer. I mean, I think that side turned out pretty well. I like that. Cousins, not twins? See, on this side, it looks pretty sharp and clean, and this side is just like, I tried. But you know what? That's where I'm at, so I'll take it. My skill is where it is, and practice, practice, practice. Now I'm going to take actually a nail art brush, which is just a really super fine brush. I'm going to take the white and do a winged liner. Okay, it started decent, and then it's kind of taking a turn, but I think I can still fix it. So I think maybe the reason this wing is pink is just the liner is drying a little bit sheer rather than as opaque and white as it goes on. Maybe I'll just add another layer. Hopefully that'll help. Not absolutely horrible, so I will take it. Again, this is starting to dry pink, so I think it's just the red from the shadow bleeding into it, but it is what it is. I'll take what I get, because overall, I don't think this turned out too bad. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and then be back to do my lips with, I'm thinking the red gloss with a red lip liner would be really good. So I might come back with the red lip liner on. We will see. All right, so for the rest of my face, I went ahead and used the Coca Cola X Morphe highlighter again, and I put a little of it in my inner corner, but not under my brow bone. Then I used my Kiko Milano Baked Bronzer here, and my Revlon blush in the shade Oh Baby Pink, and on my lips, I went ahead and used a little bit of this Milani lip liner in red, and now let's finish off the look with this gloss. This is the shade Classic Babe. I mean, that is cherry Coca Cola red. I'm usually not a fan of high pigment glosses, but oh my goodness, that is stunning. So there we go. Here is the finished look. And now let's go right into look number 3. For the third look, I am really in the mood to just do something super simple, like maybe just something in the crease and then a shimmer all over the lid and be done with it type of thing. So that's what I'm gonna do, because as fun as this palette is, there's also a lot of nice neutrals. So I think I can get just like a nice, warm, simple look, probably using these two shadows. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start by going into this shade and just putting that in the crease. Okay, that's more orangey than I thought. Like, I thought that would be a really warm brown, but it's pretty much just straight up orange. Like a burnt orange. Pretty. Just not what I was expecting. Okay, so far that actually blended pretty well. Probably the best any of the shadows I've worked with in this palette have blended. Okay, I like that shade. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the same shade and run it along the lower lash line. And then just gonna buff that out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if I want to go in with this yellow shade or more just this orangey shade and make it more of a monochromatic look. I think I'm going to go with the monochromatic thing since this orange is orange instead of the brown I was expecting. So I'm going to go in with that. I'm just going to take it on my finger. Yeah, that's a really pretty copper, though I am getting some fallout. And then I'm just taking a flat shader brush with nothing on it and just blending the edges and getting a lot more fallout with that. I tried to wipe away the fallout and it didn't really do a good job, kind of took off my foundation and concealer with it. So I decided just to put a little bit of this under it, and this is the first time that this has not patched my makeup well. I don't know why, because this is basically a makeup magic wand that I swear by that usually fixes this stuff no problem, but I'm gonna blame the Morphe palette somehow. I don't know how, but that has never not worked for me before, and now with this Morphe fallout, it's not, and I'm mad. I couldn't find any of our metal reusable straws, so I'm drinking iced coffee out of a crazy straw, and I'm okay with that. In order to prevent fallout on this side, I'm just gonna go ahead and powder a little bit. I'm gonna do it over here too just to balance it out, but I don't really have a reason. Usually I would use my face highlighter as the inner corner highlight, but I don't really love the loose highlighter and spraying it. Like, I'm just being lazy right now because honestly this look would be gorgeous with like a brown winged liner, but I'm not gonna do that. So I think I'm gonna take just my Revlon Skin Lights highlighter for the inner corner. I have not put anything in my waterline. To really go full fall, not this season, pumpkin spice in July, I'm gonna go with my ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Joyride, which is a burgundy gel liner for my waterline. And now I'm going to put some of the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter as my inner corner and brow bone highlight. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and be right back. For the rest of my face, I went ahead and used the Coca Cola Morphe highlighter again. I used this little Milk Makeup Kush Mascara sample. And for the lips, I used my Nabla Cupid's Arrow in the shade 1 that I just can't seem to do my makeup without anymore as a lip liner. And then put this gloss on top of it. This is the shade Overflow. I went ahead and did that off camera because I felt like I put on lip gloss. There's nothing exciting about seeing that. But here is the finished look. I'm really happy with how this came out. It's very much the most my style of the three looks. I think my favorite look was probably the first one, just with how pretty and different and unique it was. But this one was definitely the most easy to do, and not in a, like, obviously it is the most simple of the three. It's a two shadow look, but working with the palette, these shades were a lot easier to work with than some of the other ones in the palette. So overall, I am very happy with how this came out, and I feel like a pumpkin spice space princess because I got my not great, but they're sisters, not twins, it's fine, Anne Boleyn space buns going on, and I'm happy. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments if there is anything in this collection you have tried, if you agree with my thoughts on it, or if it's just a big ol' skip to you. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.